Welcome again to online worship at First Presbyterian Church in Conrad, Montana on this second Sunday of Easter. I'm glad you're joining us, and we'll do worship much as we had the last several weeks. So many of you are quite used to this by now, I imagine. I invite you to begin with the prayer of preparation for worship. If you haven't already done this, at these points, please pause your video so that you can complete these steps. Again, thank you for joining us for worship online at First Presbyterian Church in Conrad, Montana. I have a few announcements I'd like to share with you. As before, I would like to invite you first to make this a worshipful experience. I invite you to put other things aside. If there are things on your mind, just jot them down so they don't worry you through the process, so you can free yourself to worship the living God and to do as you might do if you were in our sanctuary as well. As before, I invite you as well to pick a leader for the parts marked 1. I invite you to take turns. This week, you might even utilize a youth or a child with a reasonable ability to read. Give them freedom and give them space to work through the passage and let them be a part of worship. I've added a section, as you'll notice as you go through the worship sequence this week, I've added one of the questions from the Heidelberg Catechism. This is one of the creeds and catechisms of the Presbyterian Church USA and a number of other Reformed bodies, including some that we are closely connected to. And I invite you to use this as a confession of your own faith. Confessions and catechisms are often used for learning the faith, and I invite you to contemplate throughout the week this answer to this week: what is true faith? As we see exhibited in Thomas's reaction, at least eventually, in our scripture passage from the gospel. I thank you for all of you who are continuing to contribute offerings to the church. If you're looking for ways to do that, you can do it by sending it to the church through the mail, putting it through the mail slot at the church near the office, or even dropping it in the office. Most days the church office is still open from 9:30 to 12:30 in the morning into the afternoon. So you can do that. And again, thank you for all of you who have contributed. If you are encountering hardship or challenges, we want to know about that. Please contact us to let us know so that we can walk that journey with you and provide support that we might be able to provide. We will have online-only worship, obviously, at least through today, as you're joining us this April 19th or in the time after. We'll reassess with the next update from the governor. I suspect our online worship will be extended for a time, so please watch the web or call the church for updates on the schedule. And finally, I'd like to invite you to participate in a new worship opportunity. I've been wanting to do this since actually long before we started online worship, which actually isn't very long with my time with you. But on Wednesday, April 22nd and the 29th at 7:30 p.m., I'd invite you to call into the conference call number that's listed on your screen at 978-990-5110 and use access code 749-966#. And do make sure to include the pound sign. You'll use that for the access code when the system asks for it. That will then automatically place you into the call so you can be a part of this worship. For those of you who have been joining the last couple weeks through the conference call, this is the same number and access call that you've been using for that. For those of you who are new to it, it's printed on the front of your bulletin, the phone number and the access code. Otherwise, I'll also put it on the online worship page on our website, so you can check there. For the materials that we'll be using for that, I invite you to download the app on your Apple or Android smartphone or tablet. This also includes Kindle Fire devices, as long as it's a tablet and not the Kindle Paperwhite and those types of devices. The Kindle Fire does work. In your App Store or the Android Play Store, search for Daily Prayer and look for the icon that is on your screen. And again, that'll be placed on the website as well. The cost is $2.99. You'll own that app. It'll be something you can use indefinitely for your own devotion. but it has some liturgy and some scripture passages from the daily lectionary that we'll be using for that. If this is a struggle for any of you and you'd like to participate, please call me and we'll find a way to accommodate that cost for you. So please go ahead and download that app in advance. For those of you who are receiving the bulletin through the mail already, you should have the liturgy and the scripture passages printed for you. With time, you may find it more useful to use it through the app if you do have a smartphone. But for those of you who are already getting that through the mail, we'll continue to send that for a time through the mail. We'll spend about, I think, 15 to 20 minutes in prayer and in scripture, and that'll be followed by a time of open discussion in the conference call. And we'll try this a couple weeks, and my hope is we'll continue this indefinitely, even in person in the church. When we start back up, it may be on Wednesday along with our evening programs, or we may move it to another day. We'll see how that works out. So I invite you now to continue with the call to worship. Let us worship God.